The Cosmic Briefing, hosted by award-winning author Dr. Allison Brown, opens the door to disclosure, consciousness, galactic history, and humanity's awakening.
Hey everyone, and welcome to the Cosmic Briefing. You know, I've talked a lot about ascending and that consciousness is ascending and that we are going to enter this beautiful age of peace and prosperity and lack of strife and division. And yet, you can look around your 3D world and say, hey, Allison, what the heck? Why, if you say that consciousness is rising, why is there so much strife? And in fact, why is there even more conflict? Why are we still in wars? It's interesting, I watch Cryon, if you haven't seen him, look him up, but he's interesting. I watch him every now and then, and he's been saying the same thing about consciousness rising and all of this conflict. And so I think the people who follow him and look to him for guidance ask the same kinds of questions, because truly it seems paradoxical, doesn't it? And so what I want to share today is kind of how this works. All of humanity, from what our guides have explained and what was shared in the origin story, all of humanity was many, many years ago, thousands, hundreds of thousands of years ago, was allowed after certain resets. And you can read more about that in the book, or maybe I'll do another video on the resets. But after the resets, where they were working with the consciousness of humanity and the physicality of humanity and getting that sort of underway on Earth, once that was complete, there was an agreement made that we were going to be left alone and allowed to evolve naturally, organically, just evolve and see what happens. And so, yes, we live on a polarized planet, and so there is going to be some level of chaos, but also joy and everything in between. But what they were more concerned about wasn't the physicality, what was more about the consciousness and how the consciousness could evolve. Now, what they said when we wrote the origin story, which came out a couple of years ago, is that we surpassed their expectation, the beings that incubated us and our galactic ancestors is who I'm talking about. We surpassed their expectation about where our consciousness would go and how fast. And they predicted that we wouldn't be at this point until about the year 3000 something. And so, frankly, it's kind of exciting to know that we are here now and ready to ascend. And a matter of fact, we're in the middle of ascension. We are about to encounter the second wave of 3 waves of ascension, a third, and a third of the planet. And so once the new year comes, we'll be entering the second wave. So that's exciting. But what's hard for humans to understand is, how can we be evolving? How can our consciousness be evolving while there's so much chaos? And in fact, some would say even more chaos than normal. And that makes a lot of sense, because you would think higher level beings who have a higher consciousness don't engage in those kinds of behaviors. But here's what I want you to understand, and this is what the guides have shared over time, is that all of the energy that's coming onto Earth to help us evolve, to help our consciousness evolve, coming in from our sun and from other parts of the planet, and are particularly spiking on days like today. You won't be watching this on the day that I'm recording it, but I'm recording it on the 8/8, the Lion's Gate portal. So passages like the Lion's Gate portal, the solstice, the equinox, different points like that, and eclipses particularly, are bringing in specialized types of energy that are helping us to upgrade our consciousness. When that energy hits us, you know this, if you've been watching these videos, then you are probably an empath, and you understand that this energy affects our body and affects our mood oftentimes. So you may have some aches and pains, you may feel lethargy, you may feel emotional, on the verge of tears or anger. The energy is impacting us. And so some of that advice is to just ride it out, to rest, drink plenty of water, eat well, get your feet on the ground, and all of those types of things to allow that energy to come in and work with your energetic field. we know that we're energetic beings. I mean, this is not woo-woo, right? That's why we have EKGs and EEGs and acupuncture, because it's working with the energetic field. We know that we're energetic beings. So this is not out there. So the energies that hit our planet are impacting our energetic field, sometimes in ways that are uncomfortable to our physicality. And so when it does that, and you are a being walking around, you haven't maybe awakened yet, and you're just sort of living your day-to-day life and going to work and coming home and all of that sort of stuff, and you have no idea what's happening, that energy is, again, trying to upgrade you, trying to wake you up, trying to impact you in a positive way, but it can be uncomfortable. And if you don't have a context for that, you might kind of go a little ballistic. So it's agitating people. It is shaking them out of their comfort zone. It is attempting to shake them out of their belief system. And if you remember, we were told that this fall there would be some sort of event that occurs that shakes us out of our comfort zone, that awakes us up, and causes us to question our belief system. Well, that's what this energy is doing. And so as it agitates people, they might sort of go off. They might be angry. Like I said, it can affect your emotions. You might see drivers that are a little bit more agitated on the road, or maybe you have a coworker who's out of sorts. That's what's happening on a wide-scale planetary scale. 8 billion people are being shaken up and agitated. And even those of us who understand what's happening, we can be uncomfortable sometimes, and we have to recognize that that's what it is. I know my husband right now has not been sleeping. And I said, honey, you know, it's like 2 days prior to the apex of the 8/8. He's like, oh my gosh. He's always looking for he as much as he works in this field, he's always looking for a rational reason. He is kind of not a skeptic, but he is not one to jump down a rabbit hole and just, disregard any other belief system. He takes all of the information in and he tries to make sense of it. He doesn't want to sound like, there's some people that go off the deep end with some of this information and they're just sort of out there and not reflecting this reality that we live in, and he doesn't want to be that way. So he's always looking for this rational reason, why I'm not sleeping, is it this supplement or this medicine, or did I exercise or not exercise, or take too much caffeine, or whatever it is. But he's super empathic, as many of you probably are. And so the energies affect him, and he really hates to admit that. Luckily for me, they don't affect me as much. But as my consciousness arises, I'm feeling some of that too. Luckily, I've been able to sleep. But the bottom line is, these things are happening in tandem. Yes, consciousness is rising. And yes, agitation and anger and chaos and conflict is also rising right now, until we all merge into this unified field. And as people awaken, and as their beliefs are shaken, and they start to open up to new ideas, they're going to look to you all. They're going to look to you for help. So I know this, I'll take this opportunity because I know a lot of you, and I feel this way sometimes. It's kind of like, where have you been? I've been telling you this for 15 years, like to family members and friends and things, and they might have ostracized you, but resist the urge to say, I told you so. Resist the urge to go, ha, 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 I was right. Admit that I was right, because that's not serving anybody. It feels good in the moment, and I get it, but it isn't serving. The point is, they're going to wake up in their own time, according to their own contract and their own timeline. It isn't up to us to shake them. It's up to the universe and their timeline to shake them out of their slumber. And so don't begrudge the fact that they didn't wake up. There was a time when you were not awake, right? Very few of us were born awake. Most of us had to come through this human experience and go through the normal 3D stuff and then awaken to this greater sense of self. So try to remember that we were there also. We were there not terribly long ago. And so have some compassion, some mercy, and help them. Help them when they look to you, when these things start happening even more frequently and more powerfully. Each thing that happens Each event, each disclosure, each revelation that happens is meant to wake up another layer and another layer and another layer. So be there for them. Be there for them when they wake up and help them out. If you've had an experience like that, let me know. I'm curious how you handled it. And until next time.